Good morning, everyone. We are live from, well, across North America as well as Lima, Peru. So welcome to the Amazon River Run live session. So we have Tarran and Olie. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning, everyone.
All right, and they are about to embark on an epic 6,500-mile kayak of the Amazon River. So they are crazy busy right now putting together the last pieces of the expedition, finding some last-minute equipment, and it's just tremendous. They can call us from Lima to share a little bit about the adventure and their preparation. So we have several classrooms joining us live today, so I'd like to give them a chance to introduce themselves and their classroom. So we're going to jump over to Mr. Greenfield's class first. Good morning, everyone.
We are Mr. Greenfield and Mrs. Kaiser's 4th grade class from Lower Dominant School in Rio, New Jersey.
All right, great to have you joining us this morning. We're going to slide over to Mr. Londo's class.
Oh, that's you, Jacqueline.
Whoa.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, everyone.
This is Mr. Londo. I'm sorry, I nearly just hit you in the head. Grade 7. What else am I supposed to say? Acton, Ontario. Oh my God.
All right, Acton, Ontario. That's pretty close to me. I'm in Guelph, Ontario, so about 20 minutes away. Mr. Call's class. Good morning, everyone.
Hi. We are in Cobalt, Ontario, Canada, and we're the 5-6 class at St. Pat's Cobalt.
All right, great to have you joining us. Mr. Wigmore's class, if you don't mind turning on your microphone and introducing yourself to the hangout.
Hi, my name is Deelam.
And mine is Brianne.
And we're in grade 4 in Mr. Wigmore's class.
And our school's name is Burntown Public School.
And it's located in Brampton, Ontario, Canada.
And we are excited to ask you some questions
and learn more about your trip.
All right. Very cool. And our last class, right at the wire, 5 minutes to go, Mrs. Dillon's class is joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Can we see my hand? We're Miss Dillon's 3rd grade zoology class. Can you hear us?
Yeah, and where are you joining us from today?
Farmington, Missouri.
Farmington, Missouri. Awesome. Cool. Good morning. First of all, thank you for joining us. Looks like a great group of classrooms, and I bet we're going to have some awesome questions. To anybody who's just joining, I'm watching as the viewers are climbing, any classrooms joining us, please feel free to introduce yourself either on the event page or in the chat sidebar, and any questions that come to mind, even if it's individuals watching, please don't hesitate to put them in, and we've got lots of time for a Q&A today, and Tarran and Olie will be able to answer some of those questions. So without further ado, I should probably introduce myself. My name's Joe. I'm a grade 8 teacher in Guelph, Ontario, and my grade 8 class had the pleasure of hanging out with Tarran and Olie probably about a month ago to learn all about their journey. And yeah, we came up with the idea of why don't we see if we can get a few more classrooms in before the trip. So great to have it all come together and for us all to be here. So without further ado, let's pass it over to Tarran and Olie to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about the Amazon River Run.
Hi, guys. How is everyone?
Wait.
We'll just wait, yeah. So I'm Olie, and this is Tarran.
Hi, I'm Tarran.
And we're part of the Amazon River Run team. We are the team, actually. It's just the 2 of us. And we've decided we wanted to kayak down the Amazon. We're going to start at the very source. It's the furthest point away from the sea. And we're going to finish in the Atlantic Ocean in Brazil in about 5 months' time.
Yeah, we're going to walk the first 400 miles, which we're hoping to set off on Sunday or Monday, this coming Sunday or Monday. and it'll take about 30 days to walk that section, about a half marathon a day, so 13 miles a day. So between us, that's a marathon, which we're happy with. And then getting our kayaks and kayak the other just under 4,000 miles, as Ollie said, all the way to Belém in Brazil, which has been it's been a long process in terms of planning. It's sort of over a year of getting things moving, and then the last couple of months even more so. But we're quite excited to actually finally almost be at the start line.
Yeah, we've got about another 4 or 5 days in Lima. We're just getting the last minute bits and pieces sorted. So stuff that we couldn't fly into the country with, like our gas cooker and that sort of a machete and so on. So we're just picking up those last few bits and pieces, making a few contacts, making sure all our equipment is working, and we'll set off on about Sunday or Monday, and we'll head for the source, head for the mountains.
Finally.
That's awesome. That's such an incredible journey, and I know tons of planning must have went into it, so I'm sure some classes will ask about that. But do you want to take a minute before we start some Q&A just to tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, a little bit about your background in adventure, maybe share some of that with the students before we go to some Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. My background is I was born in Australia and brought up in a little island off the bottom called Tasmania, which if you Google it, it's about the size of England, with about 500,000 people in it. At the age of 18, I moved to England to try and play football, which for those in North America is soccer, but we call it football. And then actually lived in Canada for a year, did some personal training, and then in terms of the adventure sort of world, my last thing I did was I was living in Los Angeles, training and competing as a fitness model / sort of bodybuilder. Before that, I was living in Thailand, training for a Muay Thai kickboxing fight, and previously I did some Ironman in Wales and climbed Mount Blanc in Europe, which is the highest, I think, mountain in Northern Europe, along with lots of marathons and other cycling adventures. But this is probably for me, probably both of us, is obviously I'd say the biggest one that I've done, but it's very different from all the other ones, which I really enjoy. The learning process behind having to put it all together, and actually the physical aspect of kayaking, which is something I did a little bit of kayaking in Tasmania. I was quite fortunate enough to go to school right on the waterfront, where one of the courses was kayaking twice a week, which if you can either go to some class or you can go kayaking, I'm happy to go kayaking twice a week, which is good.
And I'm Ollie. I grew up in the south of England, about half an hour outside of London, and I went travelling when I was 18 to Belize, and I got to experience, it's in Central America, and I got the opportunity to go trekking through the jungle. So I then spent 2 weeks trekking through the jungle with a small group of us, which was just a mind-blowing experience. The wildlife, the sort of the scale of the rainforest, it was just unbelievable. So it really had a big impact on me at a young age. And then I went to university and studied geography. After that, I've done a few marathons. I've done some multi-day treks around the world, so sort of Australia, Indonesia, South America, further down in Chile and so on. So that's kind of my sort of adventurous background. I've also done some endurance events. I cycled the length of Britain, so from the very top of Scotland all the way down to the very bottom, and that took 7.5 days, with, again, a group of 7 of us. And it was just, I really enjoyed pushing myself and challenging myself. And this seems, I met Tarran not that long ago, about 4 months ago, and this seemed like an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome, and to meet such a short period of time ago and be working to put together such a an epic journey together. That's going to be something. You know, the two of you are going to just have a lifelong friendship. I think after this is going to be something to go through. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think at this stage, let's visit our classrooms and let's start the questions rolling, because I know they have a lot of them. So we're going to jump to New Jersey first and to Mr. Greenfield's class.
Did you map out the entire trip, or will you go with the flow?
That was a river joke at the end.
I don't know if that's a joke or a question there, but I like it. Map out the entire trip, or do we go with the flow? It's sort of both. We have done as much planning as we possibly can for each section of it. I think with any expedition or adventure, you never get the whole thing planned 100%. You kind of get as far as you can, sort of 70, 80% of it, and then there's things that happen during the adventure that change the plan slightly. So we're not always going to be 100% able to stick to our plan. But the idea is to plan everything and then deal with the things that come up and the changes that happen along the routes. But yeah, we're definitely going with the flow on the river. We're not going against it as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll just hop, actually. We'll share our screen and show you the route. And then you can have a bit more of an understanding about what we're going to be doing. So this is our website, and if you go to the route, we've got a map here. So we'll just zoom in there. So we're in Lima at the moment, and we're going to get driven up to this point here, this big red flag, which is the furthest, most distant source of the Amazon from the Atlantic Ocean. We're then going to walk along this blue line, basically, which follows the river pretty closely, all the way down. It sort of comes down here, and then we end up going back along, back on ourselves. And we get to this point here, and our kayaks are actually going to be driven to San Francisco, this town here. And then from there, we're going to kayak all the way up here. We've got a guide to help us with the language and just for safety as well. But we're going to kayak all the way along this red line here, which is known as the red zone. It's a fairly dangerous zone. There's a lot of illegal logging. There's a lot of drugs that go on. But we're just going to follow this line up, basically to Pucallpa, this town here, where it then becomes much safer. So we're going to feel a bit more comfortable with that bit. But as you can see, like, the river's really windy here, meanders a lot. So we're going to keep following that all the way up to a town called Iquitos, there, where we will then leave our guide. We figured it was safe enough from there. So we're still only maybe a third of the way through at that stage, and this is all the rainforest. And we're just going to keep on going to the border town of Leticia, just here. So that's the border between Peru and Brazil.
Colombia.
And then, yeah, you've got Colombia in the north here as well. So we're going to cross through there, keep on following the green line to a place called Manaus. So Manaus held the soccer World Cup, the football World Cup, some of the games there. And you'll see another big river coming down here. And what happens at this point is, if we zoom in a bit, you'll see the two different colours of the river. You've got a really sandy colour and a really sort of black colour, the Rio Negro. And the river actually joins there, but you'll see it doesn't actually merge for a long, long time. It just keeps on going. So that's going to be really interesting for us to just see how that looks, really, whether it feels any different to kayak through, paddle through. And then we'll just keep going to a place called Santarém, which is here, and then on to the end. So we get to sort of the river mouth here, and then we're going to come down through this, past this island. This is a huge island. If any of you know Switzerland in Europe, that island is the size of Switzerland. So we're then going to keep going round that, and then roughly what they call the mouth of the Amazon is sort of up here somewhere. So that's when we hit the Atlantic Ocean. So as we said, that's like a 4,000-mile journey from the source here all the way to the end there. But that's a great question.
Yeah, and that is just an epic journey, and I really hope you can get some pictures along the way where those two rivers merge.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Mr. Greenfield's class, next question.
I know you can't bring a lot on the kayak, but what do you bring?
It's a good question. I've got all my clothes, which are in this really small bag here. So in here, I've got one pair of trousers, one shirt, some underwear, one pair of socks, and that is it. So that's all we're taking. That's like my dry clothes, and then the clothes that I'm wearing will be the clothes that is going to be, they'll be getting wet.
We're taking, because we are, as Joe said, we're taking electrical equipment to be able to take some pictures and actually hopefully allow you guys to follow along. But now, in order to do that, we are using actually solar power, which is this cool contraption. And if I open it up, this is the thing that's going to get us a lot of power here. It's called the Solar Gorilla, but it's as I said earlier, it's a solar powered, and this connects into another port that will allow us to charge our electrical equipment, and hopefully allow you guys to follow along as well. For food,
we've got some dehydrated meals. So these are dry. This is dry food, and we've got a lot of these packets. This is shepherd's pie. We've got spaghetti bolognese. So we're not going to be missing out on any of the stuff you guys love.
We hope they taste good. We don't know yet. We hope they taste good. We'll soon find out.
So we've got a lot of those to take with us.
What else do we take? Swap tracking. That's the thing.
Yeah. We've got this device here, which is a GPS tracking device, and it means that on the map, in a couple of days' time, we're going to put the map up where it'll show exactly where we are. So this device will send up a signal saying we're that place on the map, and then you guys can all see where we are and follow our journey. You can do that through the school holidays and everything, which will be cool.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of other sort of kit as well. In order for us to obviously we're going to be drinking a lot of water. We've got these quite cool water-to-go drink bottles where actually developed by NASA, I think they developed them.
Yeah.
But basically allows us to pretty much just put it in the water, get some water in that, put the top on, and filter out a lot of the nasty bacteria that will make us sick, and then drink directly from this, which is a pretty awesome thing, given that we're going to have a big supply of water, so we should be okay with that. But that's some of the kit.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the kit down to as small as possible, so that we don't have to carry too much weight and everything.
All right, that makes perfect sense. We expect a very early update on how those dehydrated food packages are tasting.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, so Mr. Greenfield, we will come back to your class in a little bit, but let's take a visit to Mr. Call's class. I know that you guys have lots of questions for us today.
Yeah.
This is the poster we made about the Amazon River.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
That is really cool.
We like the map on the left-hand side. That's awesome.
One of the questions we have is, what kind of risks are you taking while you're traveling on the Amazon River?
What kind of risks are we taking? As Ollie was mentioning earlier, there's a section called the Red Zone, which is where they produce some of the guess it's coca, which is used for cocaine, which is the most dangerous section that we're going to have to pass through, and which is the reason why we have a guide with us for this section, because he speaks the native languages. So there are some risks, but we're trying to, I guess, get rid of some of them by having this guy come along with us. And then further in Brazil, there's potential for river pirates, which pirates aren't necessarily as cool as Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, but we hope they're as friendly as that. But that's probably some of the risks there. And then there's the fact that we are away from contact for quite a long time, which really means that we are relying solely on ourselves for, if anything happens, we have to rely on each other to actually help each other out if we get sick or injured or ill. They're probably the main risks that we're going to face.
There's a few bits of wildlife as well that we need to be just careful of. There are obviously snakes, which when we're going to be camping on the edge of the river, so sleeping out on the edge of the river. So we just need to make sure that there are no snakes about that are going to come and bite us. There are crocodiles in the river. So, just click open capture. Don't know. Sorry. There are some crocodiles in the river, so we'll just need to be cautious about them and where they are in relation to us. But that's a load more other animals, which I'm sure we'll come across and we'll try and avoid as much as possible. But again, we want to see those animals. They're going to be really interesting to us as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I recall that you guys did a little bit of first aid training before you left.
Yeah, we did some outdoor survivals for first aid training, mainly because we had done some first aid stuff before. But again, putting ourselves in this situation where we are going to rely on each other, we want to be confident in each other's abilities and our own ability to, I guess, address wounds and how to deal with sickness and illness and larger injuries as well. Which it was a really cool course, and we came away learning a lot and becoming a lot more comfortable and confident as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. All right, Mr. Call's class, do you have another question for us? From the awesome poster.
How did you come up with the idea to go kayaking through the Amazon River?
It was something that I was looking at for a couple of years, and I wanted to do a big expedition and kayak. I guess I was kayak a big river, and I was originally looking at the Danube in Europe. And after looking at that for a while, for some reason I didn't think that was nearly big enough or scary enough. So so I chose the Amazon River, and mainly because I'd never actually been to South America before, and I thought, what a fantastic way to see a new continent and get to meet a whole host of people and understand a new culture by kayaking one of the longest rivers in the world. So that was the original plan and thought behind it.
Yeah,
really good question.
I really like the jungle. I had an amazing time when I was 18 in the jungle, and the Amazon rainforest is the biggest and the best jungle in the world. So it was a great opportunity for me to go and experience more of that and learn how to survive in the jungle.
Great question. Just going to take a moment now. We have a couple people who are joining us live who've just done a shout out on the event page. We have Roxanne is joining us from San Antonio, Texas, so welcome. And then Miss Hansen's class in New York has joined us, and they posted a question. They're wondering how long the journey is going to take you in total, do you think?
We have an idea, but it's not set in stone. No, we plan on it taking about 5 months. And that's based on, as we said earlier, about the walking section, so 13 miles a day walking for 30 days, and then kayaking about 35 miles a day. We've got a few extra weeks in there to stop off at some of the villages and towns en route. hopefully experience whatever will happen there. Whether it's going to be quite fun. But yeah, about 5 months in total, we think. So we hope to make it to Berlin and the end point by the beginning of November, the end of October.
Great. And anybody else who is joining us, especially classrooms, if you want to introduce yourself on the event page or use the chat sidebar, you can get some questions in as well. So thank you, Mr. Call's class. We'll come back your way soon. And Mr. Wigmore, if you don't mind turning on your mic, and if your students have a couple questions they'd like to ask.
What do you want to explore around the Amazon River? Like,
we're really excited about exploring all the different villages. As Tarran said, we're going to try and stay in some of those villages and really understand how they use the river as their lifeline. They obviously do some fishing. They'll use the river for as a trade route. So they'll put all their crops that they've grown or whatever into the boats and send them downriver to go and sell them. And they obviously have a lot of culture as well, so things like dancing, music, and so on. So that's one of the things we're really interested in, is just to find out how they live and how they use the river on to their best to their advantage, really.
And wildlife. We want to see lots of wildlife too. Not the scary wildlife. We want to see wildlife from a distance, which is good.
Well, definitely looking forward to seeing some of those pictures. I do hope you get to see a lot of wildlife and they hold still long enough for a shot.
Yeah.
Why are we using kayaks? Mainly because I didn't fancy swimming down the river. It's a very I guess there's probably a couple of reasons. I think the first one is because it's a non-motorized form of transport, which means that we're having to propel ourselves down the river and having to do it by our own human force, which is also adds a massive another to the expedition, because we have to be having to kayak for sort of 8 to 10 hours a day, which will push ourselves very physically and mentally a lot, which we're looking forward to. And also, it's a very calm way of travelling. No motors or engines running behind us. It's just quiet, paddling a lot.
Yeah.
Probably a few reasons. It's actually I hadn't actually ever been asked that question yet. Why we're using kayaks? That's pretty cool.
I think there's a couple of people that have done kayaking down the Amazon before, and there's a guy that's walked through the Amazon, or a couple of guys that have walked through the Amazon, and you know they took like 2.5 years. So we didn't really want to spend 2.5 years away from sort of everything around us, our family and friends and so on. So we sort of set out to find out a way of doing it in a reasonable amount of time, but at the same time spend enough time in the rainforest as well.
All right, awesome questions. Mr. Londos.
Oh,
all right, so let's ask this one.
Nolan. How many countries are you going through?
Say it again?
How many countries are you going through?
We're probably going to go through 2, maybe 3 countries. We're in Lima, Peru now, and the first or third, almost half of it actually, is in Peru itself. And when we get to the border, which is a border town, if you look on the map, called Tabatinga, just past Leticia, Colombia is at the top there, and we're hoping to at least go to Colombia for a day, perhaps a night, and spend a day there, and then Brazil's the other country. So it'll be 2, perhaps 3 countries we're going to go through.
Okay, there. What are your biggest fears on this trip?
Our biggest fears. Okay. Wow. There's a lot. There's a lot going through our heads at the moment. I suppose the biggest fear is going to be the red zone. So that's the, as Tarran said earlier, the bit where they grow the coca, which is used for cocaine. There are a lot of uncertainties about that, and we don't really know what to expect. So I think that's probably my biggest fear. But we have tried to make sure we do stay as safe as possible through that section by having the guide with us. So I'm coming to terms with that one.
Probably the same as Ollie. I think we probably share the same thoughts around the scary bits of the adventure itself. And as Ollie said, we're trying to reduce the risks in that. There's a lot of other sort of fears that creep in. I think that whenever you plan something this big, or even when you do something that you've never done before, there's a lot of fears that creep up. Anything that you do that's different is scary and new, and it's a matter of just recognizing that and then learning to understand why we're scared, and then deciding we're going to do it anyway and through it, which is something that we're talking about and we're getting used to working through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I bet you've had so much time planning. You probably built things up a little bigger than they might actually be. I think hopefully when you're out there it becomes routine. You're just enjoying the river, and some of the fears are hopefully unfounded.
Yeah, that's definitely happened.
Absolutely, Joe. It's like any time you go traveling or anything new, you hear all these stories and all these things about how scary certain places are in the world. And when you get there, a lot of the time it's nowhere near as scary or as nowhere near as fearful once you're there and doing it. So, like you said, a lot of times it's going to be kayaking, camping, eating rehydrated food along the way. So it's not going to be that scary. It's just we've had time almost over a year now to think about the things that are scary. So, as you said, it does build up a little bit.
All right, great questions from Mr. Londos' class. And let's join our grade 3 zoology students in Missouri.
Yay.
Go ahead. You stand in the camera. No, bend down a little bit so they can see your face. There you go. Okay, say hi.
Hi. Are there any rare or endangered animals?
Yeah, that's something that we've actually been looking at to see what rare or endangered animals we can see. There's one in particular one that I'm really fascinated to see, and fingers crossed we do get to see it. It's the giant Amazonian river otter, which a normal otter is about this big. The giant Amazonian otter is about this big. It's about 2 meters wide, and it's I guess it's a carnivorous otter that lives in small patches of the Amazon, mainly in Iquitos. There's a few in Iquitos, but they're very rare and very hard to find. They also live in Guyana as well, but we're hoping to be able to potentially see them. It does depend on what time of year that we actually get there, and whether they're about and being also playful and happy to show themselves to us. So yeah, that's one of the things that yeah, we're really excited to try and see.
There'll also be some pink dolphins, which they're really long-nosed dolphins that they're really friendly, and they eat a lot of the piranhas, which, if we're swimming, we don't want to be swimming near piranhas. So yeah, those pink dolphins are endangered as well, and there's not that many of them left. So hopefully we'll see some of them. And then if we think about the mountains, there are going to be condors as well, which they're about the 3rd largest bird in the world. They've got a huge wingspan, and you can see them just soaring around through the mountains, looking for animals to eat and so on. So we're going to hopefully see some of them as well.
You guys are making me incredibly jealous over here. I can only imagine the biodiversity that you guys are going to get to see. It's going to be just incredible. Okay, let's steal one more question from Missouri.
How do you guys take baths while you are on your journey?
Say that again, sorry?
Say it a little louder.
How would you guys take baths on your journey?
How do we take a bath? We will basically have to swim in the river to wash. So we'll be obviously we'll take soap with us, and we'll have to go swimming, which is why we don't want to be swimming with the piranhas.
Yeah, it's going to be a if you picture a normal sized bath, the river is probably one of the world's largest baths. So we're going to have plenty of room.
It's not going to be that hot though. It's going to be a cold bath every day.
All right, great question. Just looking at the event page, Mrs. Capone's class from New Jersey is joining us as well today, and they're curious about kind of a twofold question about how you found your sponsors, and then are there any charities involved in your expedition?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we found our sponsors mainly through a lot of hard work, a lot of calls, emails, and asking, using the word please quite a lot. We kind of tried to focus on sponsors that we like the products of anyway, and we know they've got a good product and usually a fairly sort of sustainable background, i.e. the protein powder. We're taking a whole heap of protein powder, for example. It's called Love Life supplements, but they're very organically grown protein, which we like, and also we've got sort of beef jerky here, which again is sort of grass-fed cows and beef that comes from. So we try to focus on sponsors that we like the product and the brand and their company of, but that takes a lot of emails and calls and a lot of hustling to get that happening.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've got about 10 sponsors on board, which is great, and all of the equipment, all the equipment and that they've given us is going to help us on the expedition. It's things that we need. So, we haven't approached a lot of companies that sort of, don't really have any association with what we're doing or anything like that.
What was the second part of that question?
Charities.
Charities.
So in terms of charities,
yeah.
we've selected 2 charities. One that I sort of feel quite passionate about is a muscular dystrophy charity in the UK called Duchenne Children's Trust. And Duchenne is a muscular dystrophy disease that it affects boys mainly, but it means that their muscles sort of degenerate over time. And I think we kind of chose them because we're obviously doing something that's we're considering very hard and challenging for us. But these kids on a daily basis go through these things. They do struggle to walk as their muscles tire. They do get in wheelchairs by the age of sort of 12, 13. And so they have a challenge every single day that is going to be way harder for what we have to deal with.
It's something that when we're out there and halfway through the challenge, kayaking and complaining about how tough it is, that we will it'll help bring us back down to earth. That look, this is something that we've chosen to do because we can do it. So it's for that reason, as Ollie said, it's a fantastic charity in that respect that we can identify quite a lot with it. And the other charity that we're working with is it's called LRTT, which actually helped to send teachers out to, in this particular case, to Guyana, which is at the very end of the Amazon, and train other teachers there. We feel quite strongly about sort of education and I guess trying to educate as many people as possible. It's the way that you evolve and grow as humans. So we're actually hoping to raise some money to allow teachers to get trained up to a high standard out in Guyana, and then obviously pass that on when they go back to their villages, towns in Guyana itself.
Okay, and that's great. That's That's so important, is not only to do the adventure, but adventure with a purpose. So supporting those two groups along the way is awesome to see. So commend you guys for doing that. That's excellent.
And we're really excited to share our journey with you guys as well. So, you know, to allow you guys to experience the Amazon through us will be amazing. So if you've got any questions or sort of want us to go and look at something that we're not kind of sharing with you anyway, send us an email and we can look into that, and we can, you know, go and ask a question or try and find out a bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check out obviously the website and obviously the Facebook page as well. We're going to try and be as interactive as we can. So as Ollie said, send some questions over. Definitely, we'll try and get back to you when we can.
Great. And just a reminder to those who are watching, I'll put it on the event page, but the website, it's simple to remember. It's AmazonRiverRun.com. So you can follow along the journey there, and I bet there'll be pictures and maybe little blogs coming up as internet allows, because I know it's going to be a little difficult in different spots. Just looking online, Ms. Henson's class has submitted a couple more questions, and I bet you've thought about this already, but any plan for if one of the kayaks gets damaged or something happens to a kayak?
It's actually one of the things that we're trying to sort out today, to get a fiberglass sort of repair kit. We need to get taking a bunch of different tools with us in order to repair the kayaks. I think that given that is our lifeline there, that if one of them does get broken, we have to have all the tools available to be able to repair it. So we're taking hopefully a bunch of stuff with us that will allow us to repair them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if anything does happen as well, you know, it may be that one of us has to kayak further down the river and then try to find a boat or help. You know, they do use the river for transporting things up and down, so, you know, there will be people around, and we'll just have to ask for the help that we need, and, you know, they might be able to take us down to the next village and where we can then get the kayak repaired or whatever it is. So.
Okay, great. We've had some great questions so far, so let's drop back in on some of the classes we've talked to already. So Mr. Call's class, I know you have a big list still on your poster. Is there another question or two you'd like to share?
Yeah. This is another poster we made.
That is one big fish there.
Is it true that you're going to have enough stamina and energy to make it to the ocean?
We definitely hope so. Yeah, it's on something like this. It's we've been training a fair bit, but not so much the last sort of month or so. We've been trying to actually put as much body fat on as we can over the last sort of month or two. And I think the main sort of test in anything that's this long and anything this strenuous is more the mental side of things. Whether we can just continue to focus each morning and get up. And after a month or two, once you've been kayaking that long, you're probably not going to want to get up at 5:30 in the morning and get out of your tent and actually get into your wet clothes and then get in the kayak again. But it's a matter of just being, I guess, focused and mentally switched on to just grind through it and get through some of the harder stuff. Yeah, it's something that we'll find out. It's a very good question, because the honest answer is we kind of don't know, which is where part of the fun lies, is that we'll find out.
The food we've got, these packets, they have about 500 calories in each. So hopefully, you know, a couple of these per day, three of these per day, plus we're going to get some extra snacks and things as well.
And the protein we're taking as well, we're taking protein powder, which you've probably seen before, gives us a lot of calories, so that'll hopefully give us a lot of energy.
And then we'll be able to buy some food along the way as well, so we'll be able to buy some fish off local fishermen, and maybe some rice and something called cassava, which is sort of a potato-like plant, root. So we might be able to buy some of that as well, and to make sure we're taking in enough food and calories.
So you mentioned the camping again and getting up in the mornings. Unfortunately, my class I had to do a planning time switch today, so they're not here. But I'd be in a lot of trouble if I didn't ask if you went with tents or hammocks.
Well,
cheers for that, Joe.
We've gone for both. We actually need the tents for the mountain section anyway. There just aren't enough trees around there to put the hammocks up, so we're going to need the tents for that section. And then we've got hammocks as well, so that we can stay. We have the option to stay on the edge of the rainforest. I think it'll be much more comfortable. Still, Tarran's still a bit hesitant, but yeah, we've gone for both, and it may be that we get sort of halfway down and realise that we actually don't need the tents
or the hammocks,
and we can then leave them with our guide as sort of a present to him when we're down by Iquitos.
All right, good. We've got to the bottom of it. They'll be happy to know the answer.
Ready to compromise, Joe. It's all about compromise.
Okay, New Jersey, Mr. Greenfield's class. A question or two?
Yeah, we got one more question.
What weather do you anticipate?
Wow. I think we're hoping it's going to be dry the whole way, but it's definitely not. Up in the mountains, it's going to be fairly cold. It may get down to about 0 at night time, so we'll need some warm clothes for that bit. And then as we get further down, it's going to get much hotter. So it's a tropical rainforest. It's going to be maybe 30 to 35 degrees centigrade. It's going to be really hot and humid as well. So it's going to feel like really sticky. And in fact, Lima at the moment is quite humid. So I think that's kind of the temperature thing. And then in terms of sort of other things, there's going to be rainstorms. There's a particular section between the Brazilian border and Manaus. So if you look back at the map after this, there's a section where there's a lot of electrical thunderstorms. So that's when you've got huge amounts of lightning coming down. We're not going to want to be on the water at all. We're talking about the tide and the wind and stuff.
Oh yeah, and the last sort of few weeks, when we get towards the end of the journey, after Manaus and towards Berlin, the waves get a lot bigger, sort of 2, 3, 4 foot, up to maybe 10, 12 foot at times, which is mainly due to the current coming into the mouth of the river. Which again is going to make it a lot more difficult for us. Just as a final notice for us that we are, I guess, towards the end of it to make it a little bit harder. But yeah, there's going to be lots of rain, and as Ollie's saying earlier, with his clothes bag, we've got one set which is going to be a dry set, and then one set that we're kayaking, which will be the wet set, which will pretty much be wet most of the time. But as Ollie said, we're hoping for some sunny sort of dry days. But given it's a rainforest, we expect to get pretty wet.
Okay, awesome, great questions. We're at about the 50-minute mark, and I know online we listed about an hour. So if any classes do need to duck out, feel free to. But I know we still have some more time, so let's move on to a few more questions. As well, too, I know some people are taking screen captures and pictures as well from the classroom, so we'd love to see those. So if you want to put those online, even post them to Twitter and use the @RiverRun, and or it's @AmazonRR, I think.
Yeah.
Is that right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the classroom, I forget which one that have made those awesome posters up. If you take some pictures of them, that'd be brilliant.
Perfect. Post those on Twitter or send them to the event page. We can grab them off of there as well.
Yeah, perfect.
Mr. Wigmore's class, you want to turn on the mic if you've got another question?
Which one are you going to take? I think in terms of the risk of dying, it's something that we have spoken about because we are effectively putting ourselves in a dangerous situation. But I think we also recognise that in everyday life, there's risks in everyday life, and you've probably heard it before. Is you can get hit by a bus tomorrow. So it's one of the things that we've spoken about, and the reason why we're doing this is that we are kind of we're sort of looking at it and going, look, something could happen tomorrow, but we want to do this expedition. It's not going to, the risks of death or danger are there, but they're there in everyday life. In fact, we just had a very good friend of ours pass away, a friend of ours, sorry, that we were training with in London 2 weeks ago, got hit by a bus. And it was sort of one of the things that, for us, obviously, it was, again, just brought to life and highlighted one of the reason why we are doing this, because you know how short life can be sometimes. So it's our dream to go and do this, and we want to follow that, and hopefully inspire you guys to get out there and follow what you guys want to do as well.
Yeah, I've got the easier question. So if there's a dangerous animal coming towards us, we need to. It depends on what the animal is. We'll obviously assess what the animal is and figure out what we need to do. But if it's something like a crocodile, we need to try and make sure we back away. And with all these big animals, if you move away from them, they generally won't really come and attack you. You know, we're humans. We hope we're quite noisy in reality, so we'll be, you know, stomping on the ground when we're around the campsite and things, and a lot of animals get scared of that. So we should be okay.
We'll tell you in 5 months what we'll do.
Yes, hopefully you don't have to experience that too much.
Yeah.
Mr. Londos,
Yeah.
grade 7.
I got it.
That's loud.
Oh, that might. How much food packets do you have to bring, and are you getting like supply drops on the way? Like, how much are you going to drop food?
Say that again?
Okay, how much packets of food do you have to bring, and are you going to like buy food on the way?
Yeah, we're taking 400 of these, and with the food and the protein that we're taking and the beef jerky, we reckon about half the amount of food that we need for the journey. We're actually planning on sending some of this up to Iquitos ahead of time, so that when we get there, we'll be able to resupply our food rations there. And then, as Ollie was saying earlier, we're going to be hopefully buying some of the food and fish along the route, and little tiendas, which is little shops en route. Whenever we see them, we'll be supplying as much as we can.
Yeah. This food is really heavy, so we had to fly this out to Lima with us, and just the food alone weighed about 60 kilograms. And then on top of that, we've got all the protein as well, so that's probably another 35 kilograms as well. So we can't really be taking as much as we want, but we're going to be relying on along the river for other food sources.
Okay, great question. Let me just check on the event page. I know a couple more questions have come up. Okay, this is an interesting one from earlier. You mentioned that people have walked the Amazon and obviously kayaked and probably other forms of transportation. Have you heard of anyone who's ever swam the Amazon or attempted?
Yeah, we have actually. There's an adventurer. I don't know. He's from Eastern Europe. I forget which country now. His name's Martin Strel, and he swam. I think most of the Amazon, a large section of it, at least anyway. It's actually a fascinating documentary. It's on. I don't know if you can find it on YouTube, but his name's Martin Strel, and yeah, he swam the Amazon. He swims big rivers throughout the world. He's a very fascinating guy.
Very cool. Let's see. We've got about 5 more minutes, but I think you guys can stay along a little bit longer if there's some good questions coming in.
Yeah.
Visit Mr. Call's class again because I know their list is pretty extensive.
How do you feel about the people in different countries of South America?
I've done a lot of traveling around South America before, and I really like them. They're really friendly. I've had no issues traveling, and they're just really welcoming. They really want you to understand their culture and their way of life. So we've had no issues at all throughout any of the countries of South America. The Peruvians are a little bit more reserved than some of the other Latin American speaking countries. So I think they possibly stand back a bit, but we met some people yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And they were really helpful to us. We were just sitting down having breakfast on a bench. This guy came up to us and said, "How can I help you? What do you need? Where do you want to go?" And we spent about 15, 20 minutes just talking to him about where the local market was and what we should be thinking about and so on. So he was really helpful, and everyone else we've been speaking to has really helped us. So they're really friendly people, and I highly recommend that you guys, if you get the opportunity to go traveling and experience different cultures, then you try and do.
Yeah, and I'll find out soon.
Yeah.
And I'll find out in 5 months. No, obviously a lot of South Americans travel the world as well, and having lived in London for the last 10, 12 years or so, I've got some friends from around the world, and like I was saying, it's like everywhere in the world. You get some really friendly people. You obviously get the other side of it as well. In any country, it's the same. But most of our interactions, and only been here for a couple of days, have all been really positive and really friendly.
Excellent. Okay. Where is it? Oh, Miss Capone's class had another question. It's an online question. Maybe they saw something on the website. I'm not sure. But they're asking about the glasses you're going to be wearing during the trip. Does that sound like?
Yeah. The glasses. Actually, again, this is going to allow us to get some cool footage. It's a company called Pivot Head, actually from the US itself. I'm going to put these on, and it actually records. There's a button on the side here where you just click it and records, and you wear them. And these are our sunglasses as well as our video camera as well. There's a HD quality camera in the middle there, so we're going to be recording them to hopefully capture some pretty cool shots, pictures and video. Yeah. So we're definitely going to hopefully be able to share some of these some of these images and video content with you guys too. But we're looking forward to using these. We've been using them around the city the last couple of days. We've got some pretty cool shots.
Yeah. And if you look at our YouTube channel, we'll start adding more videos as we're going. So we're going to try and share as much footage from the Pivot Head sunglasses as we can.
Those are very cool. Some of my class has just come back in. This is Remy.
Hi.
Hey, Remy.
And Remy had a question for you.
Yeah. Once you finish your trip, who will be the first person you will let know?
Who will be the first person we'll let know?
Who's the first person you'll contact?
It's going to be my family, my parents. Hopefully my sister will be there as well, but we don't quite know when we're going to finish. So satellite phone, which I can show you, which will mean that we can phone up our parents or
Looks like the connection may have just frozen for a moment. Can you still hear me, Ollie?
As I was saying, we're hoping to have my brother might come down with a couple of friends as well to Brazil to meet us in Rio de Janeiro, which is where we're going to end up after Belém. But everybody and anyone, I think it'll be once we get to that point. I haven't necessarily thought about it too much. It'll be I'll decide once we get there and call probably everyone and anyone. But yeah, I don't know who the first person I'll call yet. It's not something that I thought yet.
You guys will be some of the first to know. If you follow us on Twitter and Facebook, you guys will know pretty quickly.
Great. Well, we're right at the hour mark, so I think maybe what we'll do is, if you guys are okay with it, we'll call it here. But I know you said you might have an extra 15 minutes, so if a couple classes want to stick around after the broadcast ends, maybe we can squeeze in a couple more questions that way. So I know a few might have to duck out as well. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for doing this today. We had.
I just want to thank you guys for joining us. It's been amazing to get your questions and.
All right. Well, can the classroom still hear me? Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. You just
breaking up a little bit, but we've managed to get this far.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Great connection. It's good that it's waited to the end to kind of start getting choppy on us. So, thanks again, everybody. Don't forget, follow along AmazonRiverRun.com, and Tarran and Olie will stick around for a couple minutes if any of the classrooms want to stick around. And we can have a little more informal question afterwards. So thanks again, everybody. Follow along the journey, and good luck, guys. A few days away from an epic journey. Thanks all the classrooms that joined us.